Was House of the Rising Sun the first folk rock hit? Eric Burdon, the lead singer of The Animals, tells us the story of one of the greatest songs in history next on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. We interview the great artists of the rock and roll era, and you never know from day to day who's going to be on here, what we're going to do. It's great. You got to subscribe so you never miss out. It's important to keep this history. Now, I had the distinct privilege to interview Rock and Roll Hall of Fame frontman of The Animals, Eric Burdon, some time ago. I got to tell you, I was completely blown away. You know, whenever you're in the presence of a legend's legend, not just a legend, it's truly special. I mean, Bruce Springsteen, Jon Bon Jovi, so many others who were directly influenced by The Animals. Eric Burdon is the leader of The Animals, is just straight up balls to the wall, no holds barred, heart rupturing, and soul galvanizing as a singer. Few can compare to his intensity, or his integrity for that matter, for what he's singing. You know, my dad introduced me to The Animals when I was very young, and he said, I'll never forget it, this is what rock and roll is all about. And of course, he was right. The Animals were a force to be reckoned with in the 60s, and they were right there with the Beatles, the Stones, the Byrds, the Supremes, Four Tops, and the Beach Boys in that fantastic 64 to 66 period of music. Many have argued that their number one hit, The House of the Rising Sun, was the first folk rock hit. Now, we're going to talk about this in the mini documentary that will follow, and we also bring Roger McGuinn of the Byrds into that conversation as well, another legend's legend. The House of the Rising Sun, as with many classic folk ballads, is unknown who the actual writer or composer was. There's been plenty of speculation. Musicologists say that it's based on the tradition of broadside ballads, and thematically, it does have some resemblance to the 16th century ballad, The Unfortunate Rake, but there isn't clear evidence that there is a direct relation. It's interesting. The great historian and musician Alan Lomax said that Rising Sun was the name of a bawdy house in two traditional English songs. It was also a name for English pubs. He also said that the melody might be related to a 17th century folk song, Lord Barnard and Little Musgrave, also known as Matty Groves. Lomax also put forth the idea that the location of the house was then relocated from England to New Orleans by white Southern performers. Others have said different. I discussed some of this with Eric, and though there are disputes about the origin of the song, there is no dispute that The Animals recorded the definitive version of this song. Others who recorded include Roy Acuff, Leadbelly, Woody Guthrie, Nina Simone, Pete Seeger, Bob Dylan, Dolly Parton, and many more. Here's what Eric Burdon of The Animals said about it, complete story. Now, as I go into this interview, I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear. I'm wearing them now, always wearing them. This company and their frames, I got to tell you, they're the real deal. Design your own at the link below. Here is Eric with the story.
There is a house in New Orleans.
So House of the Rising Sun, really the first folk rock hit. Number one in America and the UK. Tell me about the arrangement, because I know that when Bob Dylan said that he first heard it on the radio, he had to pull the car over because he was like, he about jumped out of his seat. He loved it so much. You got it from Johnny Handel. Tell me about that.
I first heard Rising Sun in many of the local folk clubs in Britain. All the guitar players that I knew, they loved to play that opus at the front end. So I'd go to folk clubs and I'd hear guitar players playing that, and they would sing like one verse and that would be it. Yeah. Or they'd sing 1.5 verses, or they'd sing maybe get through 2 verses and the rest would be mumble and then back to the thing again. So it was all mixed up.
There is a house down in New Orleans.
Bob came out with a definitive version with a lot more lyrics in it that I ever knew existed. The Animals back then, we were starting a Chuck Berry tour. And I knew that every one of the British bands would be trying to out-rock Chuck Berry, which, impossible. I was looking for something to help our program, our little spot before Chuck. That would be different, that would be meaningful, it would be deep, and it would be, okay, but it wouldn't be the Chuck Berry format. Dun, 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 dun. And different movement altogether, you know. And by then, I'd collected the lyrics that I could from Bob and from other folk people that I'd heard sing it. So somewhere we came up with a song that was lasting around 5.5 minutes. I wanted to find something really ferocious for Alan Price to play. And I'd just seen a movie called Walk on the Wild Side, and Jimmy Smith did the title music to it. So I got a copy of the album from the soundtrack, and I said, Alan, this is the attitude that you've got to play in the solo section of this. And so that's where the idea, or the basis of the idea for the solo section. And it worked great, you know, but that put that solo section and all the lyrics that put the song up to way over the time length for a single 45, especially radio play. So when it got to the States, they edited it. They took a slice out of it. And it was hilarious for us to go into a nightclub and see a local band playing the edit. They were playing the solo with the edit in it, you know.
That pulsating organ part is such a huge part. Yeah.
You know. Okay, so now it's a bearable 3.5 to 4 minutes. So everybody told us that it's too long, it's the wrong subject matter, and it's never going to work.
What was your interpretation of the lyrics? What did you think that meant? Because there's so many different theories out there about what the song means. What did you think?
Well, I changed it from female to male. I think that helped it get over with the public easier than accepting a male voice singing, "Be in the ruin of many a poor girl," you know.
And it's been the ruin of many a poor boy.
I really don't know why I did that. It just came naturally because I'm the guy and I'm singing.
In God, I know I'm one.
Over the years, I took it to mean that in the wildlife, you know, the nightlife, the hanging out, drinking, creeping around brothels and all of that, it can be as damaging enough to the purchaser as the girl or the woman that's the slave to the system. In other words, we're all a slave to that system, and we can equally be damaged by it.
There's a controversy. You know, that's how the British say controversy. Like, who started folk rock? You know, was it Eric Burdon and the Animals with House of the Rising Sun? Because they were doing a Dylan version of a folk song. I don't know. You know, I say the Beatles started folk rock because they were the ones who inspired me to put folk music and rock and roll together. They were already doing it subconsciously. They were playing folk rock, but they didn't know it.
And that was also, as a #1 hit, it was the first British song not connected to the Beatles and the British invasion to go to #1.
Well, yeah, I was reading a book yesterday, and it claims that Pink Floyd, I think it was, knocked the Beatles off the top of the charts, but it was the Animals. The Beatles had, something like 44 successive singles that went straight to #1, and we were like, come on, move over, give somebody else a chance. And we did it with Rising Sun.
You did.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter how you sing it, with that first line, every time, you know what it is.
It's a house way down.
It's in every list you can think of. From it's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, is one of the 500 songs that influenced rock and roll. It's in the Rolling Stone 500. It's in the BMI, all the different lists. I mean, it's one of those songs that will live 1,000 years from now.
It's the song that won't die. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's amazing. I mean, I've gone into hospitals for medical work to be done, operations on my back and stuff like that, you know. And they would play Rising Sun over the small speakers while I was going under, you know, and in a dentist's office and all that kind of stuff. It's everywhere. Amazing.
You ever tell them, that's me? You probably got a real kick out of it when it was in Casino. You're such a movie fan, the Scorsese film.
Yeah, because, you know, I'm a great movie fanatic, and I love Martin Scorsese's work. And he plays that track all the way through the final scene.
The bombing was never authorized, but I suspect I know who lit the fuse.
That's what I hope would happen somewhere along the line to this song.
It's been used in a lot of movies. I mean, from comedies like The Waterboy, and also West Wing, and the TV show West Wing, and Supernatural, and just one of those songs that will that just resonates with people.
There is a house in New Orleans.
Dolly Parton covered it, and U2
she
and Green
did.
Day. What did you think when you heard those ones?
Well, I liked it.
It's
I
fun.
I hate to say it, Dolly, but Nina Simone did as well.
They call it the rising sun. Spin the ruin of many.
Just about everybody want to have a crack at that song. We were fortunate that we did it at the right time. And believe me, it was the right time. I mean, we were on the Chuck Berry tour, and we were doing it live on the Chuck Berry show. And I would hear kids leaving the show during the interlude, and they'd go by our dressing room window, and they were just like one floor down, but I could hear the conversations about, wasn't it great to see Chuck at last? Yeah, but who was that band from Newcastle that did that weird song? And then we've got it. That's it. We got to record it right now. We had Sundays off, and we booked time in the studio, and we unloaded our equipment onto a train. We took a train down to London, offloaded the equipment. We liberated a railwayman's barrow, put the equipment onto the barrow, and hauled it through the early hours of the morning in the city of London.
Wow.
Downstairs to the studio, offloaded the equipment, one sound check, one run through, one take, offload the stuff, up the stairs again, onto the wagon, back to the station, onto the train, and then down to Southampton to get the next Chuck Berry tour the following day.
Wow. That's amazing.
Bang, 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 bang.
When you were singing it, the thing that's so great about this song is you start out with your very deep baritone, and then all of a sudden you just slam into the classic Eric Burdon. How did you approach it like that? Did you kind of wanted to come in slow and then hit it hard, or what? Tell me a little bit about that. Just kind of magic? Just kind of came together?
Well, yeah, all music is magic, you know. It's all magic. But I never thought of it as being magic. I just thought of it as like, this story's got to accentuate. The lyrics have got to accentuate. It's got to make a jump somewhere in order to get people's attention, in order to explain anguish in music, or fear or terror in music, you know. And I just discovered by accident that I had that range, you know. I think it was the song that made me realize that I could make that jump from that one. I don't think it's an octave. It's just a different level. I didn't plan it. It just happened.
In God, I know I'm one.
Thanks for watching. Leave us a comment about this legendary song and artist below. To hear it, you can click on the song link. To get Eric and the Animals music, click on the Amazon links below. If you like our content, we do invite you, like I said, to subscribe. Be a part of this community. Now, to support our mission of curating this history, check us out on Patreon. Help us keep the music alive. So important. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends. Stay safe out there and rock on.